Good morning and welcome. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Welcome to the Franchise Minute. Today we have a very special guest, Sarah Van Aken with Seniors Helping Seniors. Sarah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Always excited to chat with you and talk about seniors helping seniors.
All right. Well, thank you for that wonderful setup. So today's topic has to do with a question I frequently get asked. Sarah, so many franchise candidates, people looking to find great businesses to invest in and be business owners, ask me, are there any franchises that cater to seniors? We all know it is a massive the number of them is massive.
Hmm.
They're a massive economic force in our economy. So
Yeah.
people, hey, if I'm going to invest in a business, let me go with one that caters to that demographic. So I knew I wanted to have you and Seniors Helping Seniors on to address this very issue. So let's begin with this. Tell us, the audience, Sarah, a little bit about yourself and how you came to work
Sure.
at Seniors Helping Seniors.
Sure. So I've been an entrepreneur myself for really my whole career. So I've started, grown, and exited a couple of businesses and helped other people exit their business. So I know a lot about both investing my own money, which your folks that you're working with every
Yeah.
day are doing, and I know a lot about supporting people through big transitions in life, whether that's selling a business so they can retire or whether that's in investing in a business. And so I ended up coming to work a few years ago after my last exit with Brand One Franchise Development. We're a boutique franchise development firm, and we do candidate recruitment. We look for exceptional candidates and work with great folks like you to put people in the right place and find the right fit for them to become
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. And it's pretty fun what I get to do because, people get up to some really cool stuff when they own a business, whether it's financial freedom or time freedom or building wealth and legacy. And it's really cool what we both get to do every day. So that's kind of how I
Yes.
arrived here. Fun fact about Seniors Helping Seniors, they're based out of Reading, Pennsylvania, and I was actually born in Reading Hospital. So it was kind of a hometown team for me.
Yeah.
And have a really special place in my heart for it.
Well, Sarah, you have an ideal background to help people become franchise
Hmm.
business owners and make franchise business investments. All right, one thing and I didn't know that about you being born in Reading. So thank you for that factoid. Okay, now there is a absolutely fascinating story about
Hmm.
how Seniors Helping Seniors came into existence. Please share
Yeah.
that amazing story with our audience, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you for that. So the business was founded over 20 years ago by Kiran Yokam. And Kiran literally worked as the right hand of Mother Teresa in India before coming to the United
Mother
States to found
Teresa
her
of
business.
India, y'all hearing
Like
this?
the Mother Teresa, like how often do you get to say that, right? So what an incredible story. So she's a world-class philanthropist, also an incredibly savvy businesswoman. And she really founded, Seniors Helping Seniors is her life's work and mission to help those who can't help themselves, but also it's a phenomenal business and industry to be in. And if I can, I'd love to tell you about our mission and kind
Oh,
of what
please
we
do.
do. So our mission's really simple. It's to provide our seniors with the ability to choose an independent lifestyle in their own homes for as long as possible with the dignity and respect they deserve by finding other caring seniors to help them. And why that's so important is that 90% of people want to age in their own home, and that's not always available today. Kind of gone are the days
Mhm.
where kids live close by or they're part of the
Yeah.
sandwich generation. They're raising their own kids and responsible for their parents' care and security. And time is at a premium, but it's a really big emotional job, right? Nobody wants to sacrifice quality of care for their loved ones. And
Mhm.
there's lots of folks out there who provide in-home care services, right? So what we provide is non-medical in-home care. So think about daily living support like companionship, meal preparation, taking people shopping to the doctor's office, a little personal care, helping people, maybe they just had hip replacement, shower and dress after hip replacement, or specialty care, Alzheimer, dementia, Parkinson's, MS, those sorts of things, 24-hour care. And fundamentally, what we do that's real different is our labor model. It's who and how we hire, and our name sort of says it all, right? It's our mission and what we do, but it's really the value we bring.
It's just amazing and it's brilliant. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant. I am just a massive fan. And you just said it all so beautifully.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sarah. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that I hear as a franchise advisor, and this is my 21st year now doing
Wow.
this,
Amazing.
is people come to look at franchises and they're chock full of preconceived notions
Hmm.
about franchises. And I'm sure there's some very specific preconceived notions that
Yeah.
you have to deal with when you talk to people about seniors helping seniors. So, Sarah, share a couple with us and then crush them. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's such a great thing to talk about, right? Because people they have these ideas in their head and until you learn about it. So with in-home care and senior care in general, there's two big things, and they're both debunked by our labor model. But the first is labor is going to be such an issue. There's so many
Yeah.
employees. How do we hire them? Especially we just came out of a labor crisis. And the second is liability, right? And here's what's fundamentally different about what we do. So our competitors hire young people. They're, when you're young, you're figuring out what you want to do and who you want to be. It's a stepping stone in your career. They also send whoever's
Mhm.
available on a shift. And why that's such a challenge is half the people over 80 are experiencing cognitive decline. Imagine having a different stranger in your home at a different time
Oh,
every
yeah.
day. In stark contrast, what we do is we hire mature adults, so they're closer in age, they understand the aging process, and then we match them one to one. So we're fostering a relationship. And that relationship enables us to provide a higher quality of care. We're not providing medical, it's really low liability. And in doing that, that relationship has been shown to stabilize and increase cognitive capacity, improve mental health and overall well-being, and it's continuity of care, right? So we don't have those same challenges. On the business side, 10,000 people turn 65 every day, and that's going to continue for 4 decades. During the labor crisis, basically, what ends up happening, the relationship between the caregiver and the client matters as much to the caregiver as the client. So much
Yes.
so that during the labor crisis, we had no trouble hiring or retaining our workforce. Our caregiver turnover was as low as 5 to 18% system wide when our competitors saw 80 to 90% turnover of their staff. So it's really, the name sounds amazing because you automatically get the intrinsic value,
Right.
right, of a loved one
Right.
getting help. But it's also great from both quality of care and a business model perspective. So it's pretty much a game changer.
It absolutely is a game changer. And I can speak from personal experience. I went to visit my aged mother. She was in a assisted living facility.
Hmm.
And I came by like early evening. And this is when, and we hired a caregiver to be with her to help her with, dressing, feeding, getting ready for bed, brushing her teeth, all that sort of
Hmm.
stuff. And she came in, the caregiver, while I was there, and you could just see this like spark between both my mother and the caregiver that they were
Oh
so happy to see each other. You could tell they literally loved
my
each other. I
gosh.
felt like I was invading, even though I was the daughter visiting.
Yeah.
And I could just see that bond. It was so
Wow.
strong, and it was a middle-aged woman that was the caregiver, and it was just magic for
Hmm.
me to see,
Hmm.
and I could just feel so good about, I didn't live in the town where my mother lived,
Hmm.
but to see someone who literally
Yep.
loved my mother and who my mother loved, you know,
Yeah.
taking care of her on a daily basis. It was such peace of mind to me. And really,
Yeah.
me and my siblings were the customers, right?
Yeah.
We were the,
Yes.
right?
90% of the time, it's the adult children. I'm so glad your mother had that experience, but
Yeah,
you get to see the value it brings to the client who needs the support, to the caregiver who, Americans are aging out of the workforce earlier than 65 and they can't afford to retire, but their priorities are different, right? They want to do something meaningful with their time and make a little extra money. And then what it offers you as the family members and what it offers our franchise partners who get to do something good in their communities while doing well for themselves.
right. One of the things that I put out in like my newsletters and things like that is making a difference and making a dollar. They're not mutually
Yep,
exclusive.
that's right.
All right, so Sarah, this sets up a myth that many people have about the role of the owner of a
Mhm.
seniors helping seniors franchise. So let's be clear about what the caregivers do and what the business owner does. So will you please speak to
Yeah.
that for our audience?
Absolutely. The caregivers that our franchise partners hire are going to be the front line. They're going to be working with clients. So it's all about matching them and having them connect with the clients, and they'll provide the daily living support, companionship, personal care, specialty care services. Our franchise partners are really going to be focused on running their business. And this is a people business, right?
Yes.
So you're going to be building referral partner relationships that send you clients and caregivers. You're going to be building your bench of caregivers and building your client base. So the franchise partner may be the person to go out and do the initial home visit and introduction of the client to and matching the caregiver, or they might hire someone as they build. They're going to be building
Yeah.
agencies, right? So they're going to be building a team. But it really is a people business. It's about being involved in the community and giving back. And there might be some connecting with the client to do quality assurance calls or connecting with the adult children, probably more likely.
Mhm.
But it's really about running the business and building a community of referral partners, caregivers, and clients.
So networking in the community,
Mhm.
and particularly my understanding is, so can you give some examples of who they
Yeah.
would call on or nurture
Mhm.
referral relationships with?
Yeah, and this is really built into our entire marketing system, and because we really look at our business as supply and demand, right? And
Mhm.
we our marketing is not just to get clients with caregivers, but hospital discharge nurses, rehabilitation centers, assisted living centers. Your example was great. Your mother was in assisted living, but also had a companion, right?
Right,
You didn't live
right.
in that town. She needed that connection.
Mhm.
Um, Community organizations like churches, senior centers, the VA, chambers of commerce. Of course, we supplement that with some digital marketing. So you'll work with
Yeah.
the franchise partner, will work with the marketing team on some of that and public relations because quite honestly, if you think about who watches local media and they love to feature seniors helping seniors as kind of a captive audience. So a little bit of that too, but primarily being out in the community.
Well, that is fantastic. Sarah, we have run out of time. That was quick.
Huh.
Seniors Helping Seniors is an amazing business model and it's got an amazing mission. Thank you for sharing it with our audience. So, Sarah, if anyone wants to learn more about Seniors Helping Seniors, what do you suggest they do?
Well, I'd love if they would contact you because you are the expert in matching folks with the right business for them, and
Mhm.
preparing them and helping them understand how franchising works, so that by the time they get to me, I can really jump in and tell them all about seniors helping seniors. So, if you'd like to learn more, please contact Anna.
Oh, well, thank you, Sarah. And thank you so much for being here. This was absolutely, to me, titillating. This was just amazing. You said 10,000 seniors a day turn 65 in America. I
Mhm.
had heard it was 11,000. I mean,
Oh, it probably has increased. It keeps
that's
getting
a
bigger.
massive number. Yes. And
Hmm.
so this is Sarah Van Aken with Seniors Helping Seniors. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. And audience, I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist, and I want you to come back next week where we're going to have the founder of a home services franchise. But get this, he has a PhD. So there's a really interesting story in there how someone with a PhD started a home improvement services franchise. So come back next week at 11:30 Eastern. We're on every Wednesday. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. See you next week.